So as always, I just want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for carving out the time and the space to take some time to slow down and to contemplate and to connect with other people who are on this path and to feed your soul. It's so easy to fall into the distractions of the world and of our five senses. And I'm just proud of each of you and grateful for each of you for being here. And just as a reminder, we approach this container with an open heart, an open mind, putting love and service at the forefront of everything that we do. Do your best to use I statements, meaning that you're speaking from your experience directly. If you don't have direct experience in something, perhaps it's better to let somebody else who does speak in that moment. I'm going to start just by reading a couple of passages, and this will just take 2 minutes. This is from the 18th gene key, and I thought it might be helpful to set the tone for our call today. The 18th is what we are passing through right now as we transit along. So this is from the 18th city. When you put your integrity in service to the whole, an amazing thing happens. You become more and more dissatisfied. The more good you do, the more you realize how much more you could do. This is known as divine dissatisfaction. Everywhere you look, you see how the world can be improved. As you become more and more anchored in your integrity, you aim higher and higher in your service. Perfection is the highest vision a human being can aim for, and you do begin to aim for this highest of ideals, not for yourself, but for the sake of the world. At this level, you are using the archetype of judgment to challenge the fabric of reality itself. The higher levels are infinite and therefore seem impossible to attain. But like a Zen koan that cannot be solved by the mind, if you keep aiming for perfection, it will eventually blossom within you as a natural state. You will pass beyond the very definition of perfection. I just want us to hold that ideal of service and perfection as we enter into this conversation. And with that, I will open the floor. Whoever is feeling called to ask a question or to share, let's get started. Just unmute yourself.
I just wanted to highlight the words that really struck my heart this morning. I'm in a similar energy that you are, Jay, and it was not for myself. As I was considering approaching a situation, immediately the mind this morning had its judgments and its criticisms and its flaws, and it was projecting all that in. And then as I leveled up and rose up into my gift, my approach completely shifted. But what you just read is the embodiment of it. I rose past myself and I went for the whole. So I wasn't projecting on a person, I was lifting up for the container and holding space for the potential of the container of that we've all committed to joining into. And I felt liberated from the mind. But then I sat and I wrote about that choice of the pause and to ask the mind to scoot over a little bit and bring in this presence of soul or ascended loved one or the infinite, and expect the mind to push back a bit. But then what's created? Something new. What more could we ask for? At a higher frequency that is new, that does more love than perpetuate flaws and shame and guilt and judgment. So there it is. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharon. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this, the beauty of the unknown and the potential of the unknown and the fear that we've been trained to see in the unknown. And as I've taken a deeper look at that and really questioned that conditioning, I've realized that what we've been told about it is almost completely the opposite of what it actually is. And it's interesting because every story, every myth, every movie that we have tells us that it ends happily ever after. And still, we have a hard time accepting that. Susan, I see your hand up, my dear.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm working with something here, and it would be useful to have a little other people's insight or whatever. Sharon, I was realizing you're saying, like, for the collective, it's about, but I'm going to go the opposite way just for a minute. Without being boo-hoo, or it's so who I am to hold space for fill in the blank. I'm at a point in my life where I feel I need something more. I haven't done enough taking, and there's no one to give it to me. And I'm at the point where I'm just feeling really spent. And sorry, I'm getting emotional here.
Okay.
But I'm looking at my life's work. I'm working with my gene keys, and it is so who I am. Like, I am a fixer. I am a 7.5 in my life's work. And it is, yeah, I can do it's me. I can feel it. This is me. And yet now I am coming to the end of something, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But if you don't water, the plant isn't gonna give you any fruit. And I think maybe part of it is in my codes. Very much. I've also jumped ahead and looked at my IQ, which is at 47.2. And that's my 14 to 21 years were, yeah, you got to process this mentally, because that's all you have is your mind. And actually, funny, the point two says the brilliant mind for the IQ is provocative, the brilliant mind. And it's, yeah, you are not going to get any help from the outside. So you take everyone on your back and you run. You just, and it's, so I'm struggling with, it's absolutely, I'm owning it. And yet I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Just if there's any, yeah, just this feels like the place to explore that, because I'm just celebrating myself so much. And yet it's like, yeah, any insights would be welcome.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I just want to touch on first for the container and then for you. Number one is that we are emotional beings. We have an emotional body. And somehow, some way along our history, we decided that it wasn't okay to express that part of us. And Susan, I just want to tell you that it's beautiful to see and to witness and to feel. And I'm so grateful for you in showing up in what's true for you and expressing your emotions. And I hope and encourage that we can use that as an example for all of us. I'm honestly envious, Susan, because it's something that I wish I had deeper connection to. So there's absolutely no need to apologize. The other piece that kind of is along the same lines, I realize I forgot to say, is that as we embark in these conversations, we put our trust in God, in the synarchy, and what that means is allowing to come up whatever comes up and being with that for as long as it needs to be and going as deep as we need to go. In other words, you are not taking up anyone's time or space by asking questions, by trying to learn or understand. In fact, if you are on this call right now, it is your job during this time to figure out how the circumstances that someone is going through applies to your life, because we are all mirrors for one another. And every single situation that one of us has, another one of us has had along the way. And it might not feel exactly the same. We might not respond the same, but there are lessons that we can learn. So Susan, what I'm hearing is that there's this dichotomy or split within you where you, on the one hand, believe in your power, in a higher power, in the fact that you have unlimited support and a call to service, and on the other hand you're feeling like you have no support and you're all alone and you've got to load everyone onto your back and carry them along with you. And I'm wondering if you noticed a time in your life where that started, where you took on the, okay, nobody else is doing anything here, so I need to carry everyone. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, in my childhood, yeah, it just, yeah, it's, yeah, I was raised in a very large family with two, right behind me, there were two special needs children. And I was very young when the first one was born. And yeah, a father not around, a big teenager is what he was. And a mother that was just, let's just have more kids because she loved babies. And yeah, I was at a point, I was the middle kid, if you will. And my two older sisters, they just took off as soon as they could because it was just not a great environment at home. And then also, I was very much karmically, there's just something between me and my mother. I know that. This love hate thing, just cleaning up her messy life. She was a very capable woman and everything. But yeah, I was trapped in, you're the only one. My parents were European and we were the only family over here. I live in Vancouver. So literally nobody, absolutely no aunts, no uncles, no grandparents, no, because my mother had her own history with her. So at a very young age, I just got it. It's you are the one that is, and also again, there's karma. I can just feel it. It's so there's four siblings younger than me, and I actually like had co-parented all of them and just felt trapped. And 14 to 21 was like when I was younger, I had glimpses of it even when I was 9. My father was quite abusive to everybody in every, not no sexual abuse, thank God, but every other way to be abusive he was. And he would just take off for Europe, everyone with a drop of a hat. You were just happy he was gone. And then he would just come back with no warning at all. It was like, oh my God, this just hell descended on the house. I was very much and my mother, consciously or unconsciously, she's leaned on me so much. I was truly, honestly, her only support. So it's pretty obvious to me where it comes from. But then also in my life, even though I'm very happy, very stable marriage, my partner is very materially, he's very there, but of course emotionally I feel very alone. My daughters, two beautiful daughters, again, they're not here to take care of me, but sometimes when I need, so I just feel that they're just not available for me to, and neither do they necessarily have to be because I have my own issues with that. So I've been almost too, the way you manage is you just suck it up, you carry on, you just carry on. And so maybe in a way I've also been the author of that in my life now, is I'm so used to just, you just can only rely on yourself, so just do it. So it's maybe a perpetuating cycle as well. I don't know how to ask for help. I wouldn't even know what that looks like. So just needing some more support in whatever way. I'm not even at a huge crisis point in my life. I'm just feeling like I'm dried out, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a therapist?
I went
For support?
for a year. Yeah, I went to therapy lately, and yeah, that was helpful.
I keep diving deeper and deeper into therapy because it sounds like you're an ACA as well. Do you know what ACA is? Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. My dad was also like a teenager, like that just was he was always off doing his own thing, and my mom was our stories sound similar, but what I found through attending ACA meetings was that you people recommended I see someone who knows how to do internal family systems. It's a type of therapy where you start to take up all the spaces in your family system, all the people that you needed to that to be there for you, and you become really whole, like by learning how to be your own loving parent and your own defender and your own. So there's all these like parts, it's like parts work. There's all these parts of you that don't know how to show up because of the very situation that you were pigeonholed into as a child. But it is hard when you go into therapy, because oftentimes it's just talk therapy, and then you're like, it felt good to get that off my chest, but like, how do I go deeper? How do I lean into these different intricacies? And like, how do I discover the parts that are missing inside of me? And how do I make myself whole again? But it is all work that you do for yourself. But it's helpful to have a therapist to guide you through that kind of practice. I just wanted to chime in with that.
Actually, that's very interesting. My oldest sister, who I'm quite close to, she has been involved in some of that. And I have a little bit of information about it. I think it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, you should check it out. Try to find someone in your area who specializes in that. When I try to find a new therapist, when I realize I've outgrown a therapist, I will go on Psychology Today and I will look up some new parameters of what I'm looking for. And I will interview like 5 to 10 different therapists until I find the one that's the exact right fit for me. But yeah, I've been in therapy for the last 10 years now, and it hasn't been easy. And there's been times where I've been like, I've had therapists tell me I could be my own therapist. And that's really hard to hear because I'm looking for someone to help me see my blind spots and my shadows. But yeah, I don't know.
That's useful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So Susan, I'm wondering, I just want to make sure that I'm clear on the deep struggle here. And so I'm going to rephrase it, and I'd love for you to tell me if that's right or if there's something that is different, to make sure that I'm giving you advice and something that's actually going to be helpful. So is the problem that you're feeling that you don't have support?
Yes and no. It's so funny. I don't even know what I really need support. It's not like I have something I need support with. It's that Susan's always here for everybody, like even people that I just, and it's flattering in a huge way because it's my South Node is Taurus, and if you know any of that. So it's very much that I hold that space, like that's where the Gene Keys inspire me because I have it's like a bull being sad that he's a bull. Like people see, oh, this big, strong. So it's more like I'm playing with, just playing with, working with the energies of it. Is like the bull is a big, strong, grounded, solid, and everybody sees the bull like, oh, that's great. We can, if we can make friends with the bull. And but sometimes the bull wants to just be invited in for tea or something, or go find a big enough tree to have some shade. So it's not so much that I need support, because I really, especially the older I get, and this is partly what's so wonderful about finding work that can help me integrate stuff, because it's just like that. This is fuel for, this feeds me as well. It's, yeah, like Thanksgiving dinner. I love to cook, and it's all those earthly things that I embody. But it would be nice if someone goes, oh, come over. I have all these people that they're lovely friends, but I have the whole container. And so they always come into my container. And I'd like to once in a while invite me over, but they don't have as much resources as me, if you will, like on a physical plane. And so physicality, I feel sometimes it's, yes, I really see the light in different people, and I really go towards that. And we do have lovely, so I don't really know even what I'm asking. It's just, yeah. And my husband, he's very much my partner on a 3D level. Like we hold this space, but I sometimes would like to go out of my house, so to speak, and just, yeah, it's not so much support as I want to interact more and not always have you come to my house and me serve you tea. I want to be served once in a while. I'd like to go out and have you serve me.
Mhm.
Does that sound too flaky?
No, I understand.
People are always coming over to my house, and it's so flattering because it's who I am. But also, given my past, I just want some nurturing. I want to receive on
Mhm.
almost the 3D level, if that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah. I think, okay, here's another rephrase here that I think this is it. You feel like you give out so much love and support to the world, and you feel like that love does not return to you.
Yeah, just by default. Not that people don't love me. I realize so many times, sometimes I matter way more to people than I even would have thought around. There's no question. It's just sometimes literally, physically, it would be nice to go have a cup of tea at somebody else's house, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. Yeah, that was closer to the point. Yeah.
Okay. So there are two things that I want to touch on, and then we've got some hands up that we'll have them chime in as well. The first is that I really and truly believe that everything external is driven by our internal reality and internal state. And I know that you're craving physical support from others on this plane. I hear you. And I think in order for that physical support to show up, you have to show up and learn for yourself how to give it to you first. And then that I'm going to use the word desperation, but that's not right. That like strong desire, that latching onto, that grabbing, I'm sure can be felt energetically. And so until you're able to go into a space and remember that there is a God that loves you, and that all of the love that you're putting out into the world is being returned and can be returned by you. I think when you finally fully believe that, then everything will start to shift externally. So that's my recommendation, is to really find out how you can bring yourself to tea and really spend some time with yourself. And I know, and it's not forever, right? I'm not saying that nobody's ever going to show up. They will, I promise. And they will, because you've done the work to fall into trust and love. And then the other thing that I'm going to say, and then we've got all sorts of people that want to share. The other thing that I want to say is to really take a hard look, and this might be a little bit hard to hear. Apologies, and bear with me, but it's for your good, I promise. Take a hard look at why you are showing up in service. Because I'm hearing a little bit of an expectation of return. And that the purpose for service is the act of service, period. And so you have to check in with yourself on a deep level before you show up in service for somebody. Am I doing this because it feels true for me? Or am I doing it because I want to look a certain way for somebody, or because I'm going to get something back, or because I can't handle somebody else's suffering? So really spending some time with that before you wear yourself down so thin. That seventh gene key is about being a leader and a guide. And in order for that energy to come through, you have to be whole yourself.
I think one of the issues that I'm working with too is unworthiness. So I have to I have to be worthy. So I have to give and give, because I think there's a deep unworthiness from way, way back. I think that's part of it.
Yes. Okay, Mary, I'm going to go off my intuition. I know that there is an order here, but I'm going to go off my gut here. Mary, please.
Is
am I the Mary Alice?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
good.
Mary
Mary,
Alice.
and most people call me Mary.
Okay.
One, thank you so much for hosting this, Jay. This has been fantastic. I'm obsessed with your videos. I'm new to the Gene Keys, so I might use terminology that I'm not supposed to. I say supposed to because I think of certain words on being clear of your own needs, and I'm trying to elevate to the higher self. But first of all, Susan, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for trusting us in being vulnerable. I think we all have different ways of reacting. And I had a few things that came to my mind. One was I've been doing a lot of work on self-care. I went through, I had a major trauma and a loss in my life about a year ago. I was burnt out beforehand, and it brought me to my knees. And so some of the things that you are saying are some of the things that I've experienced. And so I've been working through my own self-care journey, self-discovery. Gene Keys have been fantastic. And it's only been about a month that I've been on the Gene Keys. And I just wrote a couple notes because some of the things that I thought of was Gene Key 42, which is in my kind of profile around expectation. And that's one of the things that came up is, it sounds like you have so many wonderful people in your life. You have a partner, you have kids, you have a community, you have all these folks here, like people who show up, who are here because we care, right? And it sounds like you've given in this. One of it is when I was looking at the Gene Keys in the IQ and the SQ and the EQ and different phases of my life, I spent a lot of time meditating, a lot of time journaling, and trying to really get to the core of why am I in the shadow as opposed to the gift. And a lot of stuff has come out. And so one of the things I was wondering is maybe you have tried journaling. I think Alicia's thought on having that therapist is great and journaling is great. And you'll do your own kind of self-discovery, but the expectation definitely sounded like one of them. And then the self-worth. And that's where I had a therapist not too long ago. I'm pretty outgoing. I always felt like I was pretty confident. And she mentions, "Oh, do you have an issue with self-worth?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And then I was like, "I think I do." And when I started really, what is self-worth? I realized I was attaching my own worth to my accomplishments. And I had to, whether it's pleasing people or accomplishing something, it went to my self-worth. And if I wasn't getting a return, and that's part expectation as well, I was feeling that I'm failing in some way. Why am I not getting back what I'm giving out? And so when you mentioned self-worth, I think there's something maybe there as well. So I just wanted to share those thoughts and also just say that what you're describing is probably what a lot of us have gone through, but particularly I know I have. So it's really helpful hearing everybody's perspective on that. So that's really all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Mary. Susan, did anything come up for you there, or do we want to keep taking more stuff in?
Yeah, that was really lovely. One of the things that I explored actually in therapy, we went from being quite well off to literally being on welfare, living in a very affluent part of the city and being on welfare. And so I went to work to help. Yeah, that's a whole other story. But I think, and my mother, because of her past traumatic relationship with her mother, I would just give. And so it was literally like I was buying my mother's approval. There's a huge, it's not rocket science to see that. And that's a whole other journey again with my mother and latent anger that was there, which I never wanted to see, because it's like, literally she and I were the only, like they were literally like we were the only ones raising the rest of the kids, so I couldn't afford to be angry. I just sublimated all of that. And just, so there's definitely that bit of, to prove your worthiness, you just keep providing, because you can't afford to not be with this group. Like, this is true survival. So that's a great point. Thank you.
One other thing I forgot to jump back in is I also wrote down core beliefs. And a lot of watching your videos, Jay, it also took me on a journey through watching some just kind of basic videos on cognitive behavioral therapy and how beliefs lead to emotions, to lead to action, to results. And I'm probably messing it up a little bit.
No,
but even starting that journey on writing down what are my core beliefs, and there's exercise you can do to really help you reassess those core beliefs, because what I'm hearing is you have a lot of people around that love you, but you also sound like you feel alone. And so questioning some of those core beliefs, I think, could be an interesting journey for you as well. And now I'll be quiet.
So that brought up two things for me. Number one, Susan, is I think your intuition on going to your IQ is there for a reason. As you were talking just then, I think if you haven't done the Venus work, especially IQ, EQ, SQ, might be time. Because it feels like this is probably, like Mary said, probably childhood patterning, like you said, childhood patterning and conditioning that's circling back around. And so if we can start to unpick that weave, that's what's going to allow you to give yourself that love that I talked about before. We've got to let go of that pattern so a new way of seeing the world can come into being. And then the other thing is that I actually created these quick little cards, if you will, and I'll send them to you after the call, Susan, and anybody else that wants them. Maybe I'll just link them in the email. It's the 10 core beliefs from a guy named William Whitecloud. And they are, I'm not worthy, I don't know enough. There's a bunch of them that are definitely valuable to know and look through and to understand. So from there, I'm going to go to Courtney. You're muted.
Oh, I just took my hand down. Hi, Susan. As you were speaking, this all really resonates with me. I've gone through these processes too. That's definitely what I've carried through in my childhood into adulthood, being the person that takes care of everyone and is like holding the family together and all of those things. And one of the things that I have desired most is to receive and have others take care of me. And that's been a block in every relationship I've been in, regardless of what type. And one of the things that I found the most difficult to do, but the most helpful, was asking myself the question, do I know what it feels like to receive? Can you feel that in your body? Do you know what it feels like to take that in? And if you don't, you have to figure out ways to start to receive in small ways, because you're not going to be able to go from totally blocking that feeling to opening up and then it's coming into your life from all directions. And so some of the things that have been helpful for me were to receive from things that didn't feel scary. So that would be like, nature has been a really good place for me. So grounding, trees, like trying to feel what trees give to you, animals, things like that. And once you start to learn that feeling in your body, you can very slowly stepwise that with people who feel safe and start to allow it in a bigger way in your life. So I don't know if that's helpful at all, but that was the process that got me to a place to feel like I was being taken care of.
Thank you, Courtney. Did that resonate, Susan?
Yeah, thank you. That's so good. And yeah, I just started actually doing this. Literally, there's an oak tree that I'm just in love with. And I just literally I go sit under it I go on an early morning walk. And so that's really helpful, because nature, just when in doubt, just go out to nature. Even if it doesn't mean anything to you, just do it anyway. And that's so helpful, because yeah, I just been in the same neighborhood for many years, and it's a very urban neighborhood, and yet I just have fallen in love with so many different areas and little bushes. And so thank you, that's really good. And exactly, I think you're right. I think I'm also it's maybe hard for me to loosen up and just really deeply receive. So I think that's a great point. Thank you.
So I just want to take a second and acknowledge Courtney, because what we're doing right now wouldn't exist without her. I know a lot of you guys don't know this, but Courtney's my girlfriend, and she has been a huge part of getting my heart to open and to show up in the world in a way that I'm proud of. Also, as our container grows, she's more than likely going to help with some things along the way. So I just figured now would be a good time to introduce her. And I also want to recognize Marcy, Brent, and Susanna, who are all here, who are in the paid container that I have. And I'm just, again, this wouldn't exist without them either, because I can't do this work without being able to pay my bills. And they are a big part of the reason, or the reason, that I can do that. So thank you guys all for trusting in me and for being here. And I'm so grateful. From there, let's go to Jan, please, sir.
Thank you. I just want to share, Susan, when you were talking about the fixer as your life's work, that line 5, I was like, cool, I've got the same one. I've also got a line 5 there. But what is interesting about that fixer, what I realized is a couple of things. One, is it mine to fix? And that's a big one for me. Am I invited to actually fix this? Or should I say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, but this is yours, unless you ask me to support you to fix it. The other thing, which I picked up from one of Jay's videos, and I'm not sure if it was a video with Jay and Courtney or just Jay by himself, because there's a couple of videos there as well, which are quite interesting, is when you were talking, I think, about the life's work, how much it is inner work first instead of outer work. And that struck me, that the line 5, the fixer, and I'm not going to say before I'm out there helping others to fix things or fixing problems for others, am I spending enough time to fixing my own? And that's the thing that really came up for me. There's stuff going on that, hey, interesting, you're always helping other people, but why are you not paying attention to your own challenges here? Where as I was traveling a lot before COVID, literally being on planes every week a couple of times, every time the security announcement came, if you are traveling with children, take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody else. And that thing really is ingrained in me. Yeah, great. There's stuff, people need help. Wonderful. How am I doing right now? Do I need help or do I need something? And I'll wrap up with this because of what I heard you say when you said, I would love to be invited to tea, as an example. What I think I'm hearing, and this is me jumping to conclusions, careful, is unspoken expectations. Do people actually know you want to be invited? Because if they don't know, they're like, hey, it's always at your place and you love doing this stuff. So because you love having everybody over, we'll just be at your place. Otherwise, I would invite you to be at my place. But no, you love to be at your place and it's the nice place. So let's do this. And this is going back to what Courtney said. And when Courtney was talking about receiving, that's interesting. It's a thing I used a lot in my workshops as well, in my corporate workshops, when people were talking about wanting to receive. And I was always asking this one question. And here I go already. I'm giving away the answer. What do we need to do before we can receive?
We have to open our cup.
Yeah, but very specifically, in order to receive, what do we need to do? If there's something specific we want to receive, what do we need to do? If you want to be invited for tea, Susan, what could you do? Not need to do, but what could you do?
Ask to be invited.
That's it.
But there we go to a whole other. Yeah,
Sorry,
so out of my
I got
comfort
you.
zone.
I got you. No, but that's the thing for most people. Asking for help is something most of us struggle with. Offering help, we're totally cool with that. Asking for it is a big step. And I just had a couple of conversations this week with some of my customers or people I'm working together with at the moment. And then there's stuff at the end of the call where we feel this needs to be done. And normally it would be me doing it. And I literally asked, I said, are you okay doing it right now or should I do it? And that person now said, no, I'll do it because I asked. So now I don't have to do it. But in order to receive specific things, we may have to ask. And I don't want to open up that wormhole right now. But that is one of the most pragmatic things, including the unspoken expectations. There's a lot of stuff going on in people's lives because they would love to experience something. And yet they never told anybody that's what they want. And then we can sit and pray and hope and wish and whatever we want to do to get it. But if we don't speak it out loud in any way, shape, or form, we can sit there for a long time, waiting, sitting, praying, hoping, and wishing. That's my share, Jay.
Yes.
Thank you, Jan. And yeah, Susan, by your reaction to what Jan just said, it's very clear that's some work that needs to be done for you. And
Vulnerability is really scary for me too. So actually, this is partly why this is so beautiful. And thank you so much, everybody. That's partly why the tears came, was because just being allowed and having had just letting myself, that was the bigger part of the tears, actually. It wasn't so much the trauma. It was just the So this is the start, and I'm so grateful for this community because that's step one for me, I really feel. So thank you so much.
Beautiful. Natasha, let's jump over to you if you don't mind.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Susan, for everything you've been sharing so far. I'm new to the lives, but I've been following Jay's channel for a while and have been watching their community calls for some time and feel they give so much to the world and to all of us who are here. So thank you so much. But Susan, to you, I just wanted to say not the exact same thing I have gone through as a child, but I can definitely relate to maybe having to parent myself as a child, having to be an adult before a child, before I was able to be a child. But I think something that just clicked to me was in this week just gone, it was the 46th gene key. And the shadow of the 46th gene key is seriousness. And the gift is delight. And the siddhi is ecstasy. And when I even read the word delight, because I was reading it a few days ago, the 46th through the book. And I think that's something for you to maybe like welcome in or to feel out what that word even means to you. Because to delight in oneself and to delight in your own body, your senses, your feelings, what makes you delight as if you were a child, because obviously we all have an inner child, we all carry our inner children with us as we go. We may have children such as you have, obviously have your own children, and there is such beauty in being able to be innocent like children and being able to, and I know some of us were robbed of that as when we were young, so I can completely relate to that and I empathize a lot with that. But no one can take away your own self, you know what I mean? You have yourself, you have your spirit, you have your heart, you have your emotions, and you have your brain, but the brain can come last sometimes. And I think maybe just little practices you could employ each day that you find delight in, that you delight in this experience. It could be like, I don't know, maybe you like to use clay, maybe Taurus South Node, maybe you're really good with your hands. So to delight in the sensory experience, because I think as children as well, if we aren't filtered, we really experience the body. And it might be like wonderful for you to maybe do something like aesthetic dance or whatever may have you, but just to really embrace the little things that bring you delight and then big things as well, because it goes hand in hand, but to not shy away from the beauty and the delight of life, as much as it is serious as well. I understand it's all very serious out there. There's so much suffering. We can all go on about that and feel that. But the other spectrum is to channel the delight in the life that we have, which is right now. So that's just maybe a little bit I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natasha. I have to just tell everyone I got the benefit of talking to Natasha for, I don't know, an hour or two about a month back, and she is like one of the most delightful humans ever. At some point, if you have a chance to connect with her, please do. Okay, Alicia, is what you have for Susan or something different? It's for Susan? Okay, before you go, Alicia, let me just check in with Susan. Where are you in process right now, Susan? Are you
So
open to
beautiful.
more?
That was so beautiful. Thank you, Natasha. I actually have 46 twice in my profile, and I can't. But they're in the Venus sequence somewhere. So I haven't. But like Jay said, I think it's time for me to explore the Venus sequence. But of course, I'm very like, let's just get the activation done first. But I do think I do really think it's time to jump ahead and explore. And so the seriousness that totally rings a bell. I'm just the 46, as I say twice, that's quite a sign to. So what you said there was bang on. Thank you.
And
You're
trust
so
your
welcome.
intuition, Susan. Sorry, Natasha, go ahead.
No, sorry. You're so welcome. And thank you, Jay, for even being so sweet about what you just said. It was amazing to talk to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But something I say as well is my partner doesn't have the same gene key, but there's an element of the way he approaches himself that is serious. Like he can't go and have a massage, even though his body's hurting. But he'll buy his mom a massage, he'll buy me a massage. It's Tim. You can spoil yourself, you can love your body, you can love your mind, whatever you need to do, but you don't have to approach yourself with a serious lens because you've already been taught to be serious through conditioning and environment. So you can unteach yourself that, and you can welcome in the play and the innocence and the evocative nature of life, if that makes sense, because you're a sensory person with a beautiful sensory element. So just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
Okay, Susan, before we keep going, I want to make sure, are you feeling complete? Do you want some more? Where are you?
I think this has been so nurturing. Thank you, everybody. Very good insights and just a little bit more for me to nibble on as I go along. And yeah, unless somebody else really wants to, I feel very complete and so held and so appreciative. The Gene Keys, when I just got a glimpse of it, I just knew that was part of my path, is exactly this. Is you can start with the cerebral, which I'm great at, but it also takes you really deep into all the other portions. And so that it's just magical. I love the work and I just love this community. So thank you so much. And Jay, I just appreciate you so much. Thank you for this. This is just the ticket for me. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And as you take these next steps of the journey and are figuring out activation work or Venus work or where it is you're meant to go, just listen to your intuition. Trust your gut. You'll know where to go. There's nothing wrong with doing a quick glance through your Venus sequence and then continuing on with the activation work. Like there are not hard and fast rules here. So just let go of all of that and go where you feel like you need to go for now. And yes, you need to spend time with these things, and it's important to go deep with them. And when it's time for that to happen, you'll know it's time for that to happen. So just explore and enjoy the voyage. Okay, let's move along. I'm not sure if the hands are up for Susan. If they are, we're not going to keep going down that road. But if somebody has something else to open up into, feel free to unmute yourself and let's go on.
Why don't you go, Penny?
Was coming up with me today to come in. I was working with a client this morning right before the call, and maybe it ties in a little bit to what I came in already on with this call, is Gene Key 48, the shadow of inadequacy, and transforming and transmuting that into resourcefulness, and how easy it is to get caught up in. So what's coming up for my clients, she's a very gifted healer. And what's coming up for her is looking outside of herself, and then that's triggering this inadequacy. So looking at what other healers are doing online, what other people's marketing tactics are, what other people's gifts are, how many likes and hearts and all the things on their social media. And she has a 3-line, so that can be tricky. I have a 3-line too, and it can be tricky with that trial and error and transmuting some of those denser energies that come with a charge when it comes to this perception of failure or not being good enough or doubting oneself, and really being able to dig deep into finding what is that resourcefulness that we all carry in us? Where does that live in the body? How does that express itself? And I guess it tied into part of what I heard from Jan when I first popped in, was about asking for what you need. And that a lot of times we feel like nobody's reaching out to me, nobody's buying my things, and it's this leaky energy all over the place. And so one of the things that I actually did ask her this morning was, did you ask for that? Did you ask this friend for clarity about this text message that she sent you? And sometimes it's just so easy to live in that perception of that it's all about me. And then we forget that we do have this beautiful gift of our voice, and we do have this beautiful gift of our heart to open up and be vulnerable and really ask for not just what we need, but ask for clarity. It's so easily misunderstood nowadays. Anybody can market. It doesn't mean that you are a good healer. It doesn't mean that you make a bunch of money in the world. It just means they're good at marketing. And then there's people out there who have a ton of integrity and who market beautifully and who have the integrity that follow it up. And so some of that is just finding that resourcefulness within yourself to know what it is, what is your truth, and following what is true for you, but really having that depth of inquiry. Is this really true when it comes up? Or is that because I'm taking on somebody else's projection? Because sometimes that can be a piece of inadequacy as well. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share. It just felt like syncretic timing to come into this group and be right on the shirt tails of just my call with my client and the things that were coming up for her. And did someone post in the chat that it's the week of Gene Key 48? No? Okay. I saw something pop up, but it just went right into the chat and I don't have it pulled up.
Yeah, it was 46 last week, and then we just entered 18 today.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
And just one thing I want to speak to that isn't really necessarily tied directly to what you said, Penny, but just I think, and I know a lot of the people on this call, from all the conversations that I've had with many of you outside of these calls, that one of the biggest issues we're all facing is how can we live from our soul and find a means of thriving in this physical reality. And one thing that I think really contributes to people of depth, people like you, people that know that there's more than we can see. One of the reasons that people like us are suffering so much right now is that we're trying to shove ourselves into these marketing frameworks, into creating these courses, it's like you as a human have infinite value. I'll say that again, infinite value. And so you are having to step that value down so exponentially to create this course that you think somebody is going to buy to change something in the course of their lives. But I know for me, and likely for many of you, that's not who you are and it's not what you care about. So why are we trying to force ourselves into these marketing frameworks? I'll tell you why. It's because you're looking for external validation. You're looking for a path of somebody that has gone before you. And at times, yes, that's useful. And at times, your intuition knows what is best. And I can tell you right now, looking out at the world, when it comes to business, things are not operating as they should. We are in the shadow. And I think the way through that is to just trust in the infinite value that you have as a person and share that with the marketplace. Throw out all the bullshit that people tell you need to do and just be yourself. I have 35 people on this call right now because of that. So if people tell you that it doesn't work and that you need to create a course with a number that ends in a 7, needs to be 497 or 87 or 67 or whatever the hell number, know that there is another way to do it. And I believe that you can do it. And I can help you do it if that is also something that you need. But sorry, I'll get off my soapbox. That's been on my heart big time right now. Okay, we got all sorts of hands up. Whoever, I'm not going to pick here, whoever wants to unmute and ask a question, let's do it.
I'm going to just quickly unmute and talk about Gene Key 48 because that's basically my challenge. And as Jay, we chatted about this. And I really love that you're bringing this forefront because I felt this energy since I've started this whole entrepreneur spiritual journey back in 2019. I had to get my footing straight. And then when I started listening to some people, their intentions may be pure, but they don't want to see you win. And this is what I feel from a lot of the spiritual community. Again, they have beautiful intentions, but at the end of the day, they just want you to buy their stuff and keep buying. I'm not saying that's anything wrong with that. If you resonate with someone, cool. But like over my time, I have to learn how to be a better human, first of all. I have to set foundations for myself, like how to be more loving to myself. This word ties back into what Susan was saying and being vulnerable. I was fucking terrified of being vulnerable. Being on a call like this would be scary for me. 5 years ago, I hated people. I hated everybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. We're not going to go. Some of you have already heard my story. I don't need to repeat it. And as I kept progressing, new people started showing up. And I started chipping away at, I don't resonate with this person anymore. I started resonating with this person. For example, Bashar. I'm sure some of you know who Bashar is. 5 years ago, if I were to hear Bashar, ain't for me. Doesn't feel good, none of that. And 2 weeks ago, when Jay was talking to my friend Alex and saying, get rid of the frameworks and the 97s and all that, I was just laughing my ass off, because that's exactly what all these tactics and tools, and it never felt right for me. And I was always like, am I the only one who feels this way, that has to like market this and put 10 pieces of content out every single day and all this other crap? No. And Jay is a good role example of just like, he just makes videos. He's not doing all these 10 million edits and things are popping up on the screen, or he's jump cutting. Like one of his videos, he's sitting, oh, he needs to go run and get his book. He may have taken a little bit of time. He cut that little bit of space, but he went and got his book. He left that in. I think what we all are requiring nowadays is more, and I was talking to Jan yesterday about this, because me and him had a one-on-one call. And we just need the realness. We don't need the 10 million edits of jumping forward and jumping back and going to this scene and going to that scene and having the fancy YouTube setup. I don't have the fancy YouTube setup. I don't have the beautiful thing in the back. I don't really give a fuck anymore. It's time for me to step into my truth and speak. That's it. And that goes for each and every single one of you. The thing is, you were born, you matter. There is no reason for it, just because. That's it. And I'm here to empower everyone on this call, whoever's feeling not seen and not heard and not feeling safe. You're fucking safe. You're fucking seen and you're fucking heard. This is your space, plain and simple. And I would be, again, terrified to be saying these kind of things, but I stepped into who I truly am. And Sharon, I had a session with her. I don't know if she's still on the call. I had a session with her on Monday, and she helped me bring back me to on my path. I was like dangling, like my hands were on the path and I was like falling, but she brought me back. She reminded me who the fuck I was. And I know who I am. And every single one of you, you're on your journey and you're figuring it out. And we're all here for each other. And the word authenticity just popped up by Kristen. Authenticity has a higher vibrational frequency than love, believe it or not. When you're radiating at that authenticity frequency, it's magnetic. Right now, I'm being me. I'm not wearing the masks. I talked to John yesterday about it. I actually have a mask. When I was on stage, I ripped off my mask and showing people who I truly am. Because with the mask on, or the layers of armor that we all been carrying, because I've worn layers and fucking layers of armor all my life. And we are here to remember who we truly are. Every single one of us. Plain and simple. So I'll leave it at that.
So Jay, you can hear we talk about you even outside this group, right? We had a beautiful conversation, Andre and I, yesterday, and we one of the key things we shared was actually how you create those videos and how natural they are. And I had posted some videos with a black background that you may have come across, but those were from an interview about 2 years ago. I never created any new ones. And 2 weeks ago on Friday morning, guess what? We just had our call the day before, right? I was like, why am I not creating new stuff? And it dawned on me that I was making it way too difficult. Yeah, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't need to be anything that Andre just talked about. It can just be the way you do your videos. This is it, right? Like it or don't like it, I don't care. So I recorded, I think, 3 videos around my get to know new big dream conversation. And I just had my desk raised, had the other background behind me, and I just started talking. And in the first moment, I was like, blah, 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 blah. So I stumbled and I was like, nah, that's too much. I can't leave that in. So stop and start again. In the first 30 seconds, we don't do that. But then I started talking and I just let it rip. And that was it. Yeah, that was it. Stop recording. Let's do the next one. Click and let it rip. And then I did one just the other day where I think I'd spoken for about 5 minutes, 2.5 or 5 minutes. I don't know what it was. And then at the end there was this and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this whole thing again because of the one and I can't edit it out because it was in the middle of really a specific phrase. And I was like, nope, if Jay can stand up and pick a book or do whatever he does or grab a cup of tea or Courtney wants to have a cup of tea or whatever happens in your conversations. Do you want to? No, I'm good. I'm fine. Let's have some tea. We don't have to overproduce this stuff. And I think that's where we make it way too difficult. You don't need massive studios and stuff. It's beautiful. But this works. The way we're doing it right now, this works. And I think that's what you said about surfing. The world needs to hear some other messages, some other voices. So get them out there. And we keep talking about you. So don't worry about that.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah, this is a place that, like you said, beauty does matter to some people more than others. And so this is a place where Courtney and I actually disagree a little bit in that I am like, hit record, do the thing, get it out. Don't really care what it looks like. Whereas she is much more, no, we want this to be branded and we want things to look pretty. And I think each of them have their place, and it depends on where you are in the process. And I think that's where people get bogged down, is they're thinking about the million steps that need to happen in 6 months to a year, and it stops them from doing the thing that they need to do now. Because if you don't have an audience, why are you spending thousands of dollars and endless hours on making something beautiful? There's a time and a place and an order to doing these things. And Jan, one thing that I want to touch on and Andre, with authenticity and like needing to re-record things, and this will be helpful for everyone, I think. One of my mentors really got on me a month or 2 ago because I told him that I was having this struggle of, on days that I would show up for wisdom calls or film videos or be on a call with somebody to go deeper and see if it's a fit for partnership, I was at the end of them feeling really drained and like really like I had put a ton of energy and effort into that thing. And he called me out and he was like, why? Why is that the case? And I had to really sit there and think about it. And I realized in that moment, and he knew this answer, but he knew that I had to realize it, that the only reason that energy gets sucked away from you is if you're putting on an act. If you're showing up in a way that is not actually you. Because if you're just yourself, then you've got an endless well of energy. You're just being you. And so that is a really good thing to look for when you are interacting, when you're creating things, when you're talking to people. Is this sucking energy from me? Because if it is, there's a chance that you're not being yourself, even though you might tell yourself that you are being yourself.
Yeah, and that was the key thing about recording those videos. I'm like, it's stupid because you're on sessions like this, and exactly this setup that I have right now is the way I recorded it. So we talk here, we're on video, it's being recorded, it's out on YouTube, it's everywhere. Why the heck can't I just use this to make a recording and share the message I want to share? And it's just crazy when you realize that. And as you say, just show up as you are, do the thing. And my hair may be here, it may be over there, or whatever is going on. Now what? So just get it out there. Yeah.
And I feel like a big part of this is that we feel like we need to show up a certain way for the market. What I was talking about before, if I don't show up this way, or if I don't say these things, then people aren't going to engage with me. But here's your real job. If you're trying to be of service and bring something out into the world, something that is truly yours, it's not to step yourself down to where the market is. We already said you are infinite value. Instead, it's how can you figure out how to get the market to rise up to meet you? And that is much easier said than done, because people do have expectations. They do have a way of seeing and being in the world. And so that's where the real hard work is, quote unquote, hard work is in getting somebody to shed all the beliefs that they have, because that's really the problem.
Yeah, but if that's what you want to do, if you want them to show up authentically, then that's what we have to do. And I think that's what I realized, is that if I'm here to coach people, you're here to coach people. As coaches, we do the things we do. We're not perfect. There's stuff going on in our lives. That's all fine. And we know how to coach and guide people to where they need to be. Now what? There was a big game changer for me when somebody said, yeah, in order to coach somebody on their game, you have to have played their game. And I'm like, nope. I don't need to have had all of the stuff that people have had occurring in their life to be able to coach them. That's absolutely not necessary. We can have conversations. We can go deep. We can figure out what is blocking you. That's the heart behind me right now that you asked about before, right? Reconnect to that heart. That's what the Gene Keys are all about. Have that open heart. And mine could have been closed for the last, 55 years as an example, and just opened in the last one. That doesn't mean I can't coach people to start opening up their hearts. So that's it. Leave it here, Jan. Thank you.
Tons of hands up. Whoever wants to unmute and chime in, please.
I think there's something to be said for the same repetitive patterns you're seeing on social media now and all this. I think that people are really craving authenticity and craving something that's real. And I think it's driving this wedge between, I think a lot of people feel lonely and they want community and they just really want something real and they can't find anything real online. And it's just, I think we're at this breaking right now. And I don't see how these ways that everybody else is being educated that this is how you do marketing on social media, I don't think it's going to last very long. I think people are already sick and tired of it.
Yep.
And we all have kind of detection for it.
Yeah, the reason I'm saying this right now to this room full of people is because Courtney and I joke often that I'm early to everything. Like, I have a tendency to be able to see trends, and I try and launch things, and it's like crickets, because it's so, like, the market's just not ready for that thing yet. And I'm telling you right now, if you are an entrepreneur, or if you are somebody that wants to bring something out into the world, what Alicia just said is the truth. We are at the end of that model. Think about your personal behavior on social media, right? We all know what a cold DM pitch feels like, because we get them constantly. We all can see the want this ebook. That person gives zero fucks whether or not you read their ebook. They want your email. Everyone knows that this is a thing at this point. And so the market is shifting, and there is a way to get ahead of it. And now's the time. And the way to get ahead of it is to just be yourself. Felicia said, that's what people want. Just be yourself. No frameworks, no, none of that stuff. I know that's scary, because it puts the onus back on you, and it puts the value back on you, right? It's not this course that you created, it's you. And because so many of us have a problem with seeing our inherent value, that feels so scary.
Yeah. Yeah. It all comes right back down to the value and valuing yourself and valuing your own integrity.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed.
Damn.
Still tons of hands. Anybody can chime in, please.
I want to share because I'm feeling all of it, all of the call from when we were talking with Susan to now, all of it. And like, I'm the type of person, I feel like we should all look at our own strengths. Like, what's the strongest part of us? Where do we have our biggest strength? And for me, my biggest strength is my spirituality and my faith. I've had faith since I was a tiny little girl. I've had faith in knowing that things were not what I was taught. I just could feel it. And so since I was a little girl, I understood the oneness of everything and the connectivity of all of us and how we're all blended and how we're all together on this. And so I just want to share from my standpoint of being, first of all, being open to receiving, that we had touched on that earlier, because I also have 47 in my IQ, Susan. So I hear that big time. And as far as the 48 goes, of course, it's going to pop up because I just casted it. Like, you guys know how I'm doing the deeper dives into the I Ching and the Kabbalah and all of the things. And really, I literally cast it after asking for guidance, because I need to make decisions right now for my business and moving forward. And of course, what is it? Resourcefulness is your gift. So I'm like, okay, I got this, right? I got this. So I'm of the person that sends the stuff out energetically. I pray, I connect, I just, please put me of service, just everything. I'm just open to receiving. Like, I've never have been like that before. I have my house because I was open to receive somebody helping me move a mattress. And we started talking, and now I'm rent to owning this house. And I just had to say yes when she stopped to help me move the mattress. And I just had to say, yes, I will take your help. And then here I am in this house. It's freaking mind blowing. So then I start writing down, because I'm really good at school. I'm a straight A student. College is like my thing. So I'm like, how can I move forward so that I'll keep up and keep doing what I'm doing? Well, I've also been a teacher and an associate teacher at the college and whatnot. So I'm like, how about if I just make myself some syllabi, and then I student myself. So I got just my bottom, just the stuff down for my what my courses are going to be. And just like a little bit, I haven't created the syllabi yet, but I kid you not, you guys, the very next day, a friend of mine calls me and tells me, because one of my syllabi is going to be about books. The next day, she calls me and says, so I'm writing this children's book. And I'm like, so now her and I are writing children's books together. We've already got a little idea of how we're going to move forward. And it's that energy, it's that connection to spirit, to source. It's that, and believing in that, because that's my personal strength. That's where I stand. So that's what I'm just like, okay, 48, I need to use my resources. What's my best resource? It's my spirituality. It's my energetic connection to everything. So that's where I'm going to start. And then boom, I'm writing books now. And it's so exciting. And we've already got 2 written. I wrote mine and she wrote hers, and we're going to go back and forth. And now we're going to put the illustrations to it. It's just amazing. Yeah. And she's got it going on call with the publisher, with someone she's already knows, who knows all of this stuff. And that's where I'm at with it. That's all I guess.
Well, I've also written a children's book.
Huh?
I've also written a children's book, and I'm working on illustrating it.
Oh, wow.
You guys should hook up after the call at some point.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we should talk sometime.
Yeah, we're literally, my
Make a
friend
whole
and I are,
community with us.
yeah, that's what her and I have been talking about. We're like, we'll start here with just the 2 of us, but we literally could put an LLC together and create this space where we could all join together and do something. So yeah, let's talk.
At the end of the call, I'll send it. I'll facilitate that connection so that you guys can
Appreciate
chat. One thing that
Yeah.
I want to share both with you, Val, and with everyone else is, Val, as you're on this journey and you run into barriers, which you will, bring them here so that we can figure them out together, right? I want to make everyone aware that this is a place to work through the issues that you are having in your life. So bring that stuff. Don't worry if everything pertains to the gene keys and spirituality and God, I promise. So just bring that stuff and we will work through it together. I can help you with different things. And if I can't,
Thank
somebody
you.
else here can. So,
Yes.
so please.
I know that with 100% certainty. I love this. You guys are my therapy. I've said that before, but seriously, thank you so much, everybody.
Who again, I've got Karen, Angela, Casey, Natasha. If any of you guys want to chime in, please.
Hey, it's Ken. Hold on.
I'll go.
Hi, I'm just.
Can I go?
Oh, I'm going to just give a quick example because I'm hopping on the bus to go to the pool. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I work with a woman. She is my guide. I met her through an art dealer in New York who referred me to a woman who was in Vancouver doing a conference for her PhD, who said, you need to meet this woman. I met her. She has no website. And 5 years later, I'm still working with her. She is constantly booked up and she's amazing. So the point of what I'm saying is I think that when we're really ready and we have the intention, the people will show up for you. They're going to be there. So that's all I had to say. Sorry, it's a cloudy day here and my bus is here. So love you all and thanks for the call. Okay.
Later, Ken.
But
Thanks
they're going to be
coming in.
there. Just when you're ready, when you're really ready and embodied, they'll be there. Okay.
Agreed.
Ciao.
Bye, Ken. Thanks, brother. Karen, let's go to you because I saw you trying to chime in.
Thank you, Jay. Everyone, I'm Karen. I live in Australia, and it is 3:30 in the morning at the moment. Bed there. So excited and so anxious about tonight, this morning, whatever it is. Fumble.
You're breaking up a little bit, Karen. I can't hear you. Is that just me or is she broke? Yeah. Okay. Karen, we cannot hear you, my dear. Man, she woke up at 3 a.m. in Australia to be here. No, come on, microphone.
Oh.
All right, we'll give her a chance to unfreeze. Karen, we'll come back to you. You might need to log off and log back on, like Keisha said. Don't worry, we'll come back. And then I've got Angela and Natasha. Whoever wants to chime in, please.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go because I have a coworker coming over very shortly. So I just wanted to say that the whole authenticity really spoke to me. I have a open G center and I'm a chameleon. Whoever I'm around, I'm like picking up on everything that they are and what they do. And it became a real problem at work because I was a massage therapist. And I recently stepped back from that in May. And so right now I'm just studying for my next, but I had took energy work courses. And so that was like when I started opening up, like I would wake up with the client's pain. I would, whatever they were thinking, I would be like getting it. And I would be like trying to go down this rabbit hole of, oh, must be what I'm meant to do. So there was all this, like I didn't know the direction I should be going because I kept being pulled in all these different directions. It was like every little whisper with the wind, and I was going down that rabbit hole. And so it quite exhausted me. And so now, of course, I'm taking is about lifestyle wellness, and it has been very good and helpful. The meditation. And I wanted to also recommend this book. It's called Free to Love, Free to Heal. And it's a really good book because it also talks about different ways that you can go into your psyche and help heal yourself. Because I'm not really good at working with people because I'm picking up everything from them. So it's hard for me to, and I'm doing better about it. What's mine and what's theirs. So, but that's what I've been working with is that it's interesting because I just doing the gene keys like in March. But even early in my life, I remember because I have 22 in my carnation cross, and I was like, I just need to be more graceful. I just need to be more graceful. I remember always like It was like this natural thing. It was like my soul knew the guidance that I needed, but I just hadn't found the people or a map, because I was a Christian, and I would just, like when I was 20, I was like, okay, I just need to go to church. And this Gene Key 18 is in my chart 4 times. So I'm feeling it pretty big right now, because I've always tried to be perfect. So I've always had this judgment on myself. I got to be everything for everybody. So I feel that what Susan was saying too. And so I've stopped with that. I went a deep dive of, it was more selfish. And so then I realized that. So it's like all about this balance of showing up for yourself first, then you're able to show up for others. And it's okay to say yes, and it's okay to say no. And so, yeah, so just wanted to share that with everyone.
How do you feel like you're doing with the boundary between your energy and others' energy?
I feel like it depends like where I am on my emotional wave. If I'm low on my emotional wave, then the lines can get blurry. I'll start feeling their pain or whatever's going on with them. So I have to really pay attention to that and just retreat, and then start doing my toolbox work, calming myself and all of that.
Have you contemplated at all how that ties to that 18th gene key that you have so many times?
The boundaries.
Yeah, between like your energy versus other people's energy. Have you seen that connection quite yet?
It's the biggest thing, and that's why I had to step back from working with so many people.
So the reason that I ask is that the gift there, integrity, is all about knowing who you are and what you stand for.
Yeah, your values. And yeah.
And so until you know who you are and what you stand for, how could you possibly know what's yours and what somebody else's? So the question I have for you is, who are you and what do you stand for?
I know what's important. My values is family, and I like to create a beautiful home, and I like to be, I'm a loner. I'm a 5/1, so I like to be alone. It's like I'm ambivert though. I like to be both. I like to have a lot of alone time. I like to be able just to get out there and say what I want to say and then be done. But I think that's also part of being a manifester. Whereas before it was like they love my energy. They just want to be, and then I'm drained. I'm so tired because I don't have sacral energy. Finding that balance of giving and retreating, and then just giving to myself. I think everything that we have shared today has blended together, like we've all kind of felt into all of the different aspects of everything that has been shared.
Can I offer something that I'm seeing and hearing that might be a little challenging?
Of course.
So a handful of times at this point, a lot of references to human design, astrology, a lot of things that you are taking as this is my truth, regardless of what's happening in any given circumstance or situation. In other words, what I just said about your energy mixing with other people's energy because you're not certain who or what you are, I'm feeling or sensing that because you're not certain who or what you are, you're putting your authority in this outside system to tell you who or what you are.
That's definitely been true. And so I have been working to stay in my authority and strategy. I've been working on that. That has been a goal of mine. And so walking away from my work, that was hard because when I was 18, I was told that I would never be able to work and I would be on medication the rest of my life. So I'm like, I'm going to show you. So it's like my wound, and I'm doing this even though it's killing me and I don't want to do it, but I'm doing it because of that. And I was doing it for the wrong reasons. So I had to recognize that and step away. And because nothing else can come in until you make the space for it.
Yeah, I think that is really the biggest thing that you can do right now, is to learn and develop trust in your inner authority. So spending a lot of time in contemplation
Yeah.
and really going inside and finding that self-assurance from within. Because again, a lot of the energy interaction troubles and needing to step away from massage and a lot of that stuff, I think, stems from not knowing what you stand for. Another thing, like a nuts and bolts thing that might be helpful to do is I just had Marcy, who was on this call. I'm not sure if she still is or not, but I just had her work on core values. And that might be something that's helpful. I know you mentioned family already, and that could definitely be one. And the exercise that I like to have people do is write literally everything that comes to mind with that word, and then figure out how to take everything that comes to mind and put it into a paragraph, and then take that paragraph and figure out how to distill that down into a sentence. And that's the process that I have people go through that can just serve as a foundation point for you to start, and something that you can always return back to.
I have did something like that where I have wrote down my core values. I think it was from a book that said "Be who you came to be" or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was, which was interesting because when I took a shamanic journey, I got 2 messages, and one was "let go," and the other one was "be who you came to be." I think after that, I was like, "But who am I?" I keep changing, but also that is who I am. I am meant to change, to go and just be with that wind and let it flow and change a lot. That's okay. But most people don't like it. They're like, why are you always changing? They want you to be this and just stay at that. But that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing you do is who you are. And there is one piece of you, though, that is unchanging. And that's the piece of you that you need to find. That's the piece of you that there's this disconnection from. Because that unchanging part anchors your ability to flow with everything else that's happening around you. You are designed to shift and be with the unknown, absolutely. And there's this one piece of you that never changes, regardless of what you're flowing with. And so getting back into contact with that thing.
I feel like I do when I meditate and go really deep. And actually, this course I'm taking, we just finished meditation, and it actually inspired me because I feel like I want to go into that and be a meditation teacher because I want to go deeper of it, I feel like it does fit my carnation cross, which is like grace, peace, transformation, and discrimination. So I feel it fits that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what you'll notice as your meditation practice deepens is that the line between I'm meditating and I'm living my life gets very blurry. That line starts to disappear at a certain point. And so that feeling that you talk about feeling in meditation, it's possible to live your life from that feeling.
In the timeless zone.
Exactly.
I've been there. And even like the craniosacral work that I would work with people, we would go there. My son, I would work with him, be like, how do you do that? Like, where did time go? And which craniosacral work is amazing, but it's not my thing because you can also get there through meditation. There's so many different therapies and ways to get there, and not everything's designed for one person. Different people can use different tools to help them. Because like for me, it was very confusing when we got to the dialoguing part, and my teacher, she was dialoguing, but it was not very great. And she tried to take her test on it, and she even failed it, and she's did it for 30 years. So I was like, so then it scared me because I was like, oh, I don't want to say anything. And when I'm working with people, they're that perfect again. Do everything perfect. So yeah, but yeah, I realized it wasn't for me. It's really great. But actually, I feel like within that, there are people who do it who don't actually do that work, but they coach as well. So I thought eventually maybe a life coach, but first I want to do this and then the meditation, and then we'll see. I got to first heal me and take care of me first.
Nailed it. That's it. That's it. The outer work is a manifestation of the inner work. And until you feel safe and whole and connected and loving and trusting, then regardless of what you say, people are going to be able to feel what's below it.
Yeah, for me, what came through I'm working on also is structure, security, and stability. So it's been the theme for this month.
You're on the path. You're exactly where you need to be. My only encouragement I have for you is just keep doing what you're doing. Keep finding time to meditate. Keep going within. Try to contact that thing that doesn't change. Realize that you're perfect just as you are, even in every single one of your mistakes. It's perfect because it just leads you to the person that you need to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for being here. Let's try to go back to Karen. I see you're back. Let's see if we can make it work this time. You're muted right now, my dear. You can unmute yourself, and it also might help to turn off your video. Sometimes if your connection's not great, if you turn off the video part, but if you feel like it might work, we can try.
Yeah, it was ironic that it hadn't cut out until I started to speak, and my life has sort of done that, ironically, shut me up. Or my voice has been quietened. I haven't had a voice, so until now. So thank you. You're allowing me to speak to the other side of the world, and me, like, yes, you got no idea. So anyway, Richard and his blessed self and creating the gene has been my saving grace, most definitely, without a doubt. His little triple flame app, I absolutely love. I use it every day and use his pauses. They have, it's incredible actually. The more I do them, which everyone talks about, yeah, everything changes. And you, Jay, I come across you as life does randomly, and you have a tone. I emailed you, and that was a leap of faith as well. And I've never done that before either. And there's a tone in your voice that just rattled in my core. And then the way you teach as well. Yeah, I have heard many people other than myself say the same thing, that the way you explain things. So you are definitely doing what you're here to do. There's no doubt about that. And I'm immensely grateful to be a part of walking behind you, beside you, wherever I fit. Yeah, I just want to say hi to everyone and love your work. And yeah, too many words to be said and too nervous to speak. And yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And there's nothing to be nervous about. You spoke beautifully, and I received. Thank you very much for your words and for being up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be here with us. That means the world to me. Is there anything that you had questions on, or are you just here to be in support?
The irony is, I'll write, and I can write for 5 hours. I'm blessed at the moment. I've asked for time, I've given time, and I'll write, and then I'll put you on in the afternoon, for example, and words that I've actually written, and it blows my mind every time. You speak, or I'll put Richard on in the car, and words that I've written in that morning, Richard will say, and these are words that you just don't hear in a day. And so every day it blows my mind of the connection, feeling so separate. Like I feel like I'm all alone over here. And I know I'm not. And when that happens, it just blows my mind. So I guess my questions are answered. And I could talk to you for hours, but no, there's too many other people that have their hands up and like to speak. And I'm grateful to everyone that's spoken, because, yeah, there's a little bit of me in every one of you. Most definitely.
Thank you for being here, Karen. I really appreciate it. And I want to also plug the Triple Flame app for
Yes.
anyone that is unaware of what that is. It's available in the App Store. I think both, I'm sure I have a Google phone and I know that it's there, and I also know it's on Apple. So it's on both platforms. It's very simple. It's an app where you can just set reminders to contemplate throughout your day, and then it gives you the reminder, and you can see how many people are doing it at the same time. And there's lots of cool features on there. The typical advice from Richard is to contemplate for 3 minutes every 3 hours. So if you set an alarm at 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, and each time that alarm goes off, you just sit for 3 minutes. And what you'll find is the more pauses you have in your day, the more time you have in your day, which doesn't make any sense, but that's the truth of the paradox. And try it for yourself, I guess is all I can say there. And yes, Jan also brought up the new interactive profiler. So if you go to genekeys.com and look at your free profile, now there's a way, like, you can, man, there's all sorts of useful stuff. It connects to like the dream arc. It allows that you can move up or down a key if you want to. You can see the shadow, the gift, and the city. It's just much more interactive, much easier to click through and work with. So if you haven't been on there in a little bit, it's worth going to check it out. For the sake of time, I think right now is when I'm gonna actually, no, let's explore. We got a couple hands up.
Do you mind if I say one
Yeah,
thing?
please,
So,
please.
First of all, Karen, it was so nice to hear your Aussie voice. I am half Australian. I was born in Melbourne, so it's really comforting to hear your voice. It's very nostalgic, and yeah, from remembering my time in that part of the world. So it was really nice to hear you. You remind me of my paternal grandmother, so that was really nice. I just actually wanted to, so thank you, Karen. I just wanted to actually talk about something astrologically, because it's tying in completely with authenticity. I've studied astrology and I'm a practicing astrologer for the last 4 years. So maybe just on the note of authenticity, I thought it might be nice to share this. So we're entering a 20-year cycle from November 19th this year, and it will be Pluto, the planet of transformation and rebirth and transfiguration, and power. Pluto is about power, moving into the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about community, and it is based in authenticity when Aquarius is in its highest activation. So what is beautiful is from November 19th for the next 20-year cycle, we're going to see a massive rise in people shedding their skin, shedding their mask, shedding their layers. It's the opposite. Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo. This is all very technical, sorry, but Leo is about the celebrity. When Pluto was in Leo, it was in the 1950s or 60s during Al Pacino, all of them. They were all killing it because they had this amazing power of the one, the singular. And Leo energy is about the heart and about being charismatic as an individual presence. And Aquarius is about the higher mind and being electric as a collective presence. So I think what's so beautiful is what Jay has created, what different people speak about on this platform and how they are interacting with different people. All power is going to be led by the authentic self, the authentic mind, and the authentic heart. And the way we are seeing, I guess, celebrities and popular pop culture now having a tumble of grace, like P. Diddy, yada, yada, whatever. And also, I think all their government CEOs, like the last transition we've had was a 15-year cycle about the 1%, about CEOs, about government, about the hierarchy, monarchy. So that's now done. We've done a 16-year cycle with the 1%. We're all tired because the 1% doesn't speak for everyone. And it is now about an egalitarian society, hopefully forming on Earth in the next 20 years. It'll be a process. We're going to have a lot of pain too, as we always do. But there's such light shining through. And I just wanted to say thank you for all existing on here. I'm so happy to have been on this call to catch a live, and I feel such love and grace in this space. And thank you so much for hosting, Jay. And that was just my little 2 cents. But yeah, love to all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Natasha. Thank you for sharing. Always helpful to have the outside or another perspective on the cycles that we're going through and seeing. There's always so much happening there. And all of you, I have my closet aversion to astrology that I'm slowly opening up
I
to.
remember that. We can
And
talk.
exactly. Natasha is helpful in letting that ease through. Okay, we've still got a couple more minutes. Andre, you got a hand up, brother. You want to chime in?
Yeah, just want to honor everybody for being vulnerable today and just showing up as yourself without the mask, because this is where we truly connect. It's not really a question. This is more me wanting to be of service. There's a formula that I created. It's a formula that me and my soul sister came up with, and it's very simple. Everything in life is based on our internal vibration, right? How we think, how we feel, the words that we use, the beliefs that we believe in, and the actions or inactions we take or don't take in our life. So I created a formula called TBWBA or IA equals inner world, which reflects to your outer world. I'll put it in the chat so you can see it. Basically, this is how life works. It's literally your thoughts plus your feelings plus your beliefs plus the words that you use and the actions, or I'm going to say aligned actions you take or don't take, that equals your reality for your inner world, which mirrors into your outer world. Then your outer world will give you that feedback that brings it back into your inner world, and it shows that it's working. And this is what I came to learn when I first started this journey, when I started working on my physical being, because I was about 80 pounds overweight, and people started seeing, oh my God, what have you been doing, Andre? You look more happier, more vibrant. You look like healthy. And they gave me that feedback because I started working on the inside of, I love myself. I would tell myself every day that I love myself. I would work on myself every day. And that formula is basically life. Literally, it's life. So your thoughts plus your feelings plus your beliefs plus the words you use plus your feelings plus your actions or inactions you take or don't take equals your reality. So I just want to leave it at that.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, please put that in the chat so that people can see, and we'll see who resonates with it. Okay, we are going to wrap it up here today because I have to go get my kiddo here in just a little bit. And actually, I have a call on somebody that wants to go deeper before I even go and do that. So thank you all for being here today. Much appreciated. I'm so grateful for everyone showing up and doing this work and supporting one another. As I always say, just a quick couple minutes at the end. If you are working with the gene keys already, and you already have a meditation and contemplation practice, and you already believe in a higher power, God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, and you know that you have a deeper purpose that hasn't yet manifested in the world and isn't abundantly showing up in your life, and you have a desire to be in service and prosperous and fulfilled and loving, in order to have or be those things, you've got to open your heart, and you've got to live in creativity and have passion and balance and flow. And I know that I can help facilitate those things. So if that is a journey that you are on and you feel stuck, I would love to hop on a conversation together and just see if it's the right fit. So I'll put a link to that in the email recording when I send it out. And our next call is in 2 weeks. So it is on the 10th of October. Same time, noon Eastern time. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.